Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Ethan.
And I am Rick.
And in today's episode, you will not believe what just arrived at our front door. Ladies and gentlemen, Marvel United Multiverse has shipped and has arrived today.
It's here, baby.
It is here. We are super excited. We even have a little theme song going on right now. There's more than how many boxes?
13 boxes if you count all the little boxes.
Oh my God.
13 boxes of succulent, delicious Marvel United Multiverse goodness.
You know, it was funny because when you said 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., I was literally standing outside the window the entire time.
You were like a puppy waiting for his owner to come home. You were sitting there with a drink, your breakfast, and I won't say how you were dressed with a blanket wrapped around you, looking out the front window.
Let's just keep it at comfy. I was very comfortable.
And free.
I was a free man in that morning. But we finally got it. Super exciting. The reaction of just getting these two huge boxes and opening it. It's going to be in just...
I am literally looking at a 12-inch tall Galactus sitting on the table right now. But before we get to talking about it,
yes,
do you want to give some little updates on kind of what we're doing with the podcast and some new features?
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Today, as a matter of fact, we just opened up our first ever social media account at Blue Sky.
Yes,
correct.
Blue Sky is a different platform. It's not one of the largest. It's not Instagram or TikTok or X, previously known as Twitter, but it works a lot like Twitter.
Yeah.
A lot of board game content creators are trying it out, being on there, and we thought to dip our toe in the water, we would go to try Blue Sky out. So we are at rosterunited.bsky. That's how you write it. So it's rosterunited.bsky, BSKY.social, if you want to look us up. Follow us, give us a like, throw us a hashtag. We're just going to post a bunch of pictures about Marvel United here.
Yes, actually, in fact, today we did post a picture of all of the boxes together surrounding myself, and even a picture of a little bit of the gameplay of Galactus, who really dominated us the first game. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But yes, please, again, Blue Sky, you can go see us there. Search up as well. You could also search up Roster United, a board game podcast, or Roster United. I'm sure we'll be in the top of the list when you do that. I'm sure no one else has Roster or United in their, names. But hey, we're there, baby. So
I hope not, because that would be disappointing.
That really would. It really would. But hopefully we can see you there, and it'll be fun, and you can see all of our crazy posts and everything like that.
Join the United, baby.
Absolutely.
Be a part of the United.
Absolutely. So, ladies and gentlemen, I will definitely send the link down below in the description, so you can go there directly. Blue Sky also got 10 million...
Followers,
10 million,
10 million accounts.
Accounts, that's right, a couple of months ago, so it's expanding, and we want to be right there when it's doing so. A lot of great content there. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, let's continue as well with the main dish, you could say, right? That first part was a little appetizer, little dessert, a little cherry on top. But after you eat the cherry and whipped cream, which is delicious...
Isn't that dessert?
This is the main dessert piece.
We just ate the chips and salsa.
There you go. And now that burger... that fries and everything. I don't know what I'm saying. Let's just continue here with...
I think you're just hungry. I don't know where this came from.
I don't know. I'm excited. Blue Sky podcast is exploding. Everything. I don't know. Everything's going on. But Marvel United Multiverse, as we've said it, super excited. It's here. I can't believe it. I mean, right now it's in our table. It's set up currently. And we have all of these boxes we haven't even touched. We don't even know what to expect from these boxes, except for the descriptions that obviously we've saw from the Kickstarter. So we're going to start it off, obviously, with just the reaction of the shipment. A reaction of when these boxes were taking out and just seeing it in your hands, the artwork, the minis, feeling the cards and the quality of the game. So, start us off there with just sort of your, first impressions with it. I know this is our third set, but in this set particularly, you know.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I thought there would be a lot of Marvel United fatigue when when they were going to do the third campaign. I was like, we got so much stuff. A third campaign. I mean, if you have a Calyx shelf from IKEA, and they showed the CMON as a picture of it, to do all 3 campaigns, you can fit it on a 2x4, fill an entire 2x8, square Calyx shelf with just Marvel United stuff. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I'll be honest, I just can't believe where they've taken it. Like, the new mechanics in such a simple game. And honestly, some of the boxes here are some of my favorite Marvel storylines that they've brought into it. We'll get into, I'm sure, some of the Galactus stuff, but just in the base box, Emperor Doom is fantastic. It's from Secret Wars. It's just such an amazing character.
Yep.
I haven't got a chance to play him, but I just was excited. As we started getting it, all that fatigue worry just went away.
Absolutely.
I wanted to crack it open and start going through it because, again, it's not just characters. I mean, we have a box full of extra characters from the Kickstarter, but it's World War Hulk. It's Age of Apocalypse. There's just some amazing stories in here.
It really is, and opening the box up and just feeling the weight of carrying all those boxes is just so exciting because you know that there's just so much content that you're going to be playing for, for the next couple of months, right? This whole next year until DC United comes out. So this whole span, this time period is super exciting. Obviously, there's nothing more satisfying than actually receiving a Kickstarter after waiting patiently for a year or so. And it's just so amazing.
Year and a half, I think, on this one.
Yeah, and, and obviously Marvel United being one of my favorite games of all time, and just seeing all these boxes, the artwork especially, it's amazing to see more characters added to a game that already has more than 120 playable characters. The promo box, every campaign, Kickstarter campaign, has a huge promo box, has over 30 or 40 miniatures. This box from the multiverse, just so you can compare it, I believe X-Men had about 48 or so, around that area of minis total. Stretch goals completed in that promo box. But in the multiverse one, there is 63 minis, including all of their cards in this box. This box is wider than my hand. The width is huge.
It's like 8 inches deep of how many trays have got to be in there.
Look, I mean, Frosthaven has obviously the biggest width of any board game ever. This is second. I mean, I have not, other than Frosthaven, because that makes sense, right? Frosthaven's a 10-pound board game.
Yeah, I'd say
but
Voidfall is that thick
Voidfall
too,
as well.
But
yeah, ISS Vanguard as well.
It's thicker than the Everdale Complete Collection box. I mean, it's just gigantic. It's huge. And just to give everyone an idea of the satisfaction here, / if you could call it frustration. Of course, Kickstarter is what it is. We all know what Kickstarter is if you've done it before. The dates on there are silly dates. I'd say CMON does a pretty good job of hitting them. I think this was supposed to come out in August. Or maybe July, I can't remember. But just giving everybody an idea, our last Thor's Raven, which is our title of our episodes for Marvel United Kickstarter updates, that was February 2nd, 2023.
Yeah.
So it has been over a year and 7 months since we placed the Kickstarter campaign finished, and we're finally seeing this succulent goodness in front of us right now.
Yeah, it's just, it's been a long road. I know there's 25,000 other people that have also been very satisfied to receive their shipments, and
we know some of you out there haven't probably got your shipment. They said some of that could go into October in the U.S. at least. We're in the U.S., but we just want to whet your appetite a little bit with just so far we couldn't resist. We haven't obviously gotten deep into all these boxes yet. We got a few games in, and we wanted to come to the waves tonight, the airwaves. Absolutely,
and one of the biggest things that was, aside from the new set and the new core boxes, obviously, right next to the core box in the main page, you would also see the Coming of Galactus Fantastic Four expansion containing, as we've said previously, a 12-inch statue of Galactus that just looks incredible, by the way.
I don't paint minis much. I would love to. I just don't have the time. I want to paint that mini. I'm going to be honest. I would love to paint that one.
Oh, man.
I know he's purple, but I would love to paint him because he's glorious.
Absolutely.
It's not a mini. It's a maxi.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's
bigger than
huge.
a He-Man toy.
It really is.
It's huge.
It's very huge.
If you had the X-Men, and we'll post a picture of this later in our Blue Sky app, so please join to the Blue Sky
Yes,
app.
please do. We'll do a lot of cool things there.
But if you had the X-Men United, the big minis in those were the Marvel United X-Men was the Sentinels. The 3 Sentinels.
Yes, those were.
This thing makes those look like toys.
Yeah.
It hovers. It's got to be a good 3-4 inches taller, and definitely wider than those Sentinel minis that came out. Mm-hmm. That's just how big and massive this is.
And what I really like about it too is the attention of detail with the statue. I mean, it just looks amazing. You know, they really did take their time to make sure this miniature looks great. I like that he's also kind of like on the moon, because in the Coming of Galactus,
and you're talking on the base.
He's standing on like a moon sort of thing. And it's because in this expansion, the Coming of Galactus, all of the locations you have to play with the different regions around the world, such as North America, Asia, Africa, Europe, and so on and so forth. And it's just really neat that, you know, he's on the moon. He is there. He's ready to try to devour the planet. And obviously we as the heroes are trying to stop him. And yeah,
and to be clear, and that's just, and I know you looked through this more than I did, and you taught me today a little bit. That's just one scenario.
Yes,
it's the scenario. Galactus is here. His heralds are here, and maybe that's the first one we played through. I don't know if we want to. I think we want to get into a little bit what we went through right now in this set. And this is the first set we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
Just to kind of clarify that. So again, if you're new to our podcast or you're new to the game, Marvel United, you're a series of heroes. There's basically a big bad kind of in the middle. Sometimes the big bad's jumping around. You've got 6 locations that you're playing through. You're doing a combination of saving civilians, beating up thugs. There might be mini bads that aren't the big bad running around. The bad himself normally is running around the table. And the way this game plays is the bad guy has a deck of cards. He plays 1, you play 3, and then he plays 1. And if you can't beat him, whatever that is, by the time his deck runs out, you lose.
Yeah.
And in this game, the way you defeat Galactus, and that's what's so cool about this Marvel United. I can't stop saying it. It's amazing with the simple rule set, how they get the theme just right. Mm-hmm. Right? It's just like the theme is just right in this thing.
Absolutely.
And in this particular level that we played, Galactus is ready to destroy the Earth. Is that correct?
Excuse me. Yeah, he's about to try to devour the planet. Obviously, he is a being that eats planets, so he's obviously going to do that to Earth, and we as heroes are trying to stop him by completing a series of cards. In the standard Marvel United game, you have 3 mission cards, and you have to at least complete 2 out of the 3, and then the villain is vulnerable to damage, meaning now you can attack him and lower his HP to 0. And that's how you win the game. Before, like you said, his master plan deck runs out. But with Galactus, what's interesting and more challenging is that it's not just 3 cards, or 2 cards, really. It is 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 cards. It's 4. That is, and you have to go through every single one of them. They're not optional.
But it's a deck of 8 cards. It's only 4 that you actually have to do something with.
Yes, because during the game, Galactus has his heralds. There you go. That's the word. His heralds out there on the board that can really do some significant damage and can really try to cause problems for the heroes. But when you eliminate them, you feel very happy, very satisfied. It's a victory. Not really. Because when you draw, or when you finish or complete a Stop Galactus card, one of those mission cards, you immediately draw a new one. And obviously,
so why don't you give an idea of what some of the goals are? So, for example, I believe one of them is save 6 civilians.
Yeah.
So you might start the game. This card is face up, and you've got to get through that Stop Galactus deck. So you got to save 6 civilians. You run around. You're doing your heroics. You're saving civilians. You maybe along the way you defeat one of the heralds. Well, the next card you flip up might be okay. Save 6 or defeat 6 thugs, which you defeat them. And then you beat up another herald. You're feeling great about yourself, like you said. But then you flip another card up, and what happens?
Well, you draw the basically the card of that herald, and he comes back with full health, and he's back in play. So, and remember too, every hero has 12 cards in their deck. If you run out, that's it for you, really. So you're trying not to waste that many hits and heroic actions throughout the game because you want to complete the other missions. But these guys suck. They're terrible. They're so annoying.
They do a lot of damage to you.
Yes.
The other thing that they do, like all bad guys do, is each location, if you remember in Marvel United, each location has a spot for civilians and thugs to fill up. But there's also a special bonus at the bottom, and if you finish your turn on that location, you get that bonus. Well, whenever there's a bad guy there, he blocks that.
Yeah.
So there are some pretty nasty powers that they come with, but there's some really powerful abilities in those locations that now you were using them because you defeated that bad. Now he comes back and he takes it, he blocks it again.
Yeah.
And it's just crazy.
Yeah, it was really cool because it feels like, it's just like a movie. The heroes fight the villains in the first half of the movie, and then they do some drama stuff, and then they come back later at the end, and that's the final showdown. It's really what you feel about in this game and in this game mode, because you feel that second wave is there, and sometimes it's at the worst time, or sometimes it's at a time where you're like, well, I don't mind. It could kind of potentially work out. And it's just really neat how they did that. And in fact, because it's almost impossible to play this mode with just one character, each player controlling one character.
Yeah, and we gotta explain why. Galactus's deck, that Stop Galactus deck, like Ethan mentioned, normally you're 2 out of 3 missions. This thing's got 4 missions you gotta do. Mm-hmm. So that's a lot. You might be thinking, that's impossible. How can you... Because sometimes it's hard to just do the 2 small missions.
Yeah.
Well, Galactus's actual master plan deck has, it doesn't have the normal card number in it. It's got a lot more cards in it, if I remember right. Maybe I'm exaggerating there. But he's got a lot in his master plan deck. So you need more firepower. And I think you were getting into one of the abilities that was really cool.
Yeah, because obviously, in a normal Marvel United game, like you said, it you run through your whole deck. You really do as a hero. So in this game...
And that's your health. You die.
Yeah, that is your health, which is a really neat factor of the game, how that plays out. Easy to track. So how do you kind of mimic that? How does the gameplays kind of give a chance to the heroes? Well, if you land on the Oceana, right? Is that how...
The Oceana
location. I said that right. When you end your turn here, this is after you defeat the little threat card at the location. If you end your turn at this location, you may KO your hero to remove them from the game, discarding any action tokens you have, and then choose a different hero. On your next turn, start in this location. You can basically sacrifice that character that you played the entire game, or early in the game, and replace it with an entirely different character from any of the sets that you own. Any box that you have, and replace it. Basically giving you almost like an extra life. But be warned, every time you get KO'd, you have the special rules for Galactus is that when a hero is KO'd, Galactus doesn't activate his BAM. Instead, he draws a master plan card and adds it face down to the storyline. Again, if the Master Plan card is ever empty and Galactus needs to flip one or use one, and it's empty, you lose the game. He completes his Master Plan. So you have to be very careful on when you want to do this KO, but it is crucial. I mean, you have to do it in order to be in for the long run.
Yeah, unless you just got the perfect card draw. I mean, we were close to taking him down, but we were about 2 turns short.
Yeah.
But he ended up running out of cards just with our primary heroes because that area got blocked for us late game.
It did.
The other way that's kind of highlighting the differences, because folks are probably interested in what this Galactus set includes. The Galactus set itself comes with no heroes in it. It comes with a giant Galactus, like we've talked about. It comes with the 4 heralds. So it comes with the Airwalker. It comes with the Fire Lord, the Terra, and Terrax and Nova. There is. We'll get into some of the other modes. The main mode there, when Galactus goes, he rotates around. He clears all the civilians and thugs off the air location where you're at. Mm-hmm. That's important because it doesn't let you save those people or beat those thugs to continue through his deck. He also plants extra civilians, mainly, and some. It's like people are escaping his gaze, so they're moving from one area to another area of the map, which is pretty cool. I thought that the other unique part in this that was pretty cool was some of the power cosmic, some of these things around here where it basically doesn't let you use specials on your card.
Yes, that is very frustrating, especially at the beginning of your turn. A lot of the new heroes, especially the last 2 sets, they've included a lot of starting hand cards that have an ability on it, and you typically want to play those abilities at the start of the game so you can have them go on and on, giving you maybe an extra move, letting you, if you get damaged or get hit, you can draw a card on your next turn, up to 3 cards, which is the limit, and so on and so forth. These abilities are very strong, but in the Galactus mode, it might not typically be the best way to start using those quite just yet. So one of the main strategies is to probably go against those 2 threats, or if you can, just avoid them and try your best not using your abilities. I know that's really hard to do, but if you can at least try to bleed it out a little bit, you might end up being more successful, I say.
Yeah, and I don't want to spoil it for anybody, so I'm gonna give a brief spoiler alert here for what else is in that Galactus deck. If anybody wants to jump ahead a minute or two or pause, I'm gonna pause here for a second. But what I want to highlight, and I'm getting ready to say, what I want to highlight in that Galactus deck is there are a couple of those missions that are just super cool thematics. Mm-hmm. One of the missions you have to do is there are basically 6 symbols on this card, and on one turn you have to do a pair of those symbols in your actions in order to fill it. So what I'm talking about here is there's that one card that's basically it's just 3 pairs of heroics. So you've got to do 2 heroics on a turn in order to put heroic chits on top of those to cover it. Yes. And you've got to do that 3 times to get through it. And what the card says is just a small text. It just says, the heroes convince Galactus that the Earth is worth sparing and not being eaten. And that's just cool. It's the heroes proving it by doing heroic things. Yes. And just showing that it's an amazing planet. It's just super thematic and awesome, but hard as heck to do in the game.
It really is. It might be one of the toughest mode I think I've ever played in any of the other expansions.
That's why you have to KO your character to bring in a new one. Yeah. By the time you get, depending where that card comes out, you've run out of heroics.
Absolutely. Because
you've got to use them to get through some of the threats on the locations themselves.
Yeah, and that's just, I just love this expansion.
It's
I
really
do.
Good.
It's fantastic.
So just to recap this, we played one game of this first mission type. The 4 heralds start on the board with their BAM abilities, which basically just do damage, either damage to where they're at, damage to adjacent locations. You start with Galactus, and he's running around. We played a 2-player game. I had Spider-Man 2099. and Miguel, and you played with
Captain Carter.
Captain Carter of the famous. If anybody likes the Disney What If series, obviously she's in the comics first, but she was a highlight of one of the first season of the Disney What If series for sure.
Yeah, it was very fun. I really enjoyed the character I played with, and just seeing her compared, I guess, to a lot of the other Captain America, or the brand new Captain America from the Civil War box, which we will explain in a future episode. It's so exciting. But Captain Carter is really really amazing. I like that. Obviously, she has her shield, and she can
so explain
block.
that when you say shield. What do you mean by that?
Yes, shield as in equipment. Obviously, equipment being, as we might have talked through this on other episodes in the past, is a little itty-bitty card with your equipment. For example, Captain Carter has her shield, and has a little text on some of the rules and how basically you can use it. So, for Captain Carter, for example, she has her shield, little card there, and it says that you can use her card on a villain's turn. And if a villain attacks you, you can flip over that equipment card and basically neglect one damage that is being provided to you, which can save you a lot, especially in this mode.
That saved you, because
I was about to get
right on the chin the first match.
Exactly.
KO'd you right away.
I know. It was a very frustrating way to start it. But yeah, so having that equipment card really saved me, and I believe it can also do another... You have to decide either that, or it can deal a damage in your location as well. It's really, really neat. I also like some of her abilities. It was really cool and thematic with the shield. Basically, it gave you one hit on her ability. But if you use that hit on your location to hit a thug, you can use another hit adjacently. And if you hit that thug, you can go to the next location. And if you use that hit to hit that thug, that's it. You only do it 3 times. But it's awesome.
The locations in this are actual continents. So that shield
I'm
is flying
throwing my
planet.
shield. I'm a superhuman. I can do anything I want.
Using the Earth's gravity to slingshot that sucker all the way around.
Hey, Galactus is here. He's messing up with everything. Science is not working right now.
But obviously, normally, she would be playing in other locations. But it's just kind of funny when you think about where you throw that shield in this particular game.
Which is funny, because you think about that with the locations, and then you think about, wait a minute, you're actually throwing it. That kind of makes sense, right? Because it kind of goes to the other...
shield from Asia to Africa to Europe.
That's amazing. That's just fantastic. I love doing that.
There was a wormhole in between there and it's bouncing through.
Maybe, something's happening. Yeah. But it's really neat, that ability, and there was a couple of other ones as well. It really felt different compared to the other characters from the core box. We just started playing. We played like literally a match, and we're just giving you our insight. The only reason we're giving you our insight is because we've played Marvel United many, many times in the past. And obviously the show, I mean, do I need to say it again? This show has also been based as well on Marvel United in the past. We're just expanding our roots a little bit. But yeah, deep down, it's all been Marvel United. And I love this, personally. We love this mode. And this is just one mode from the Coming of Galactus Fantastic Four. Obviously, there's that one that we just talked about. There's also the Heralds of Galactus, where you play against just the Heralds, all 4 of them, all 4 of their dashboards together, and you're trying to defeat them. You can also replace them with Silver Surfer. And every single one of these modes, the Heralds of Galactus and the Coming of Galactus, you can also play team versus team mode as well. So you can get almost up to... I believe it's a 3v3, so you can play up to 6 heroes against Galactus, but you're trying to basically see if you can beat Galactus better than the other team, which I think is awesome.
Is that similar to the red team, gold team, or blue team, gold team, blue team, gold team from the X-Men box?
I believe so, yes. The thing is, though, the Civil War box has a new team versus team mode, so I think it's the X-Men, but I'm not too sure. There is a new team versus team mode, so they might be trying to use the new expansion with this, probably. But I'm still very anxious to try it, and they even have some other they have another mode, Module Heralds, which does something weird, and the Fire Lord special rules. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff just with this one expansion. We can't go through it, because if we did, we'd be here all day. So we're going to cut it just a tad short, kinda. Not really.
We just wanted to get something out there today.
Yeah.
But we're
super excited.
What were you going through a rundown of what exactly we got?
Yeah, basically we went all in on our campaign. So we got everything. We got the core box, the Coming of Galactus, we got the Silver War, we got Annihilation expansion, the Age of Apocalypse, War King, Secret Invasion, World War Hulk, which includes Hulkbuster. Very excited about that. We also got Maximum Carnage as well, which might be the next expansion we talk about, because there's a lot of awesome stuff in that box. We also get the promos box as well, including the team decks, the pets, and we also have Fing Fam Foom, who is a huge model that comes in its own box. And also the campaign decks.
Campaign decks
as well.
Yeah, so you can run through some of those storylines.
Yes.
And they have different setups and rules to go through it.
Absolutely. And it's just, I was kind of reading a little bit of the rules. It's really interesting, really fun. But we will talk about that in a future episode. So again, just really excited about the content we got. It's just super exciting. Again, we will post a lot of the playing content, not just Marvel United, obviously, but a lot of our other board games that we will be playing and things like that. Funny stuff at the Blue Sky. So if you can get that, or if you already have it, hit us up. That'd be amazing. But yeah, oh man, it's so cool. And this is episode 99, by the way. That means next week we're celebrating our 100th episode. So next week, I believe, unless if something changes or something like that, that's fine. Well, hopefully you guys understand. But next week, we have our 100th episode, and we are going, and I'm just going to tease one little thing. We're going to do our top 10 best games of all time. Our favorite games of all time. It's going to be super fun, and that's just one of the segments we have on that episode. So expect, buckle up and expect a nice long ride with us, enjoying through some of not just our favorite games, but also favorite moments as well in the channel. Really exciting stuff. New social media, new games. It's all crazy, honestly, right? I mean, it's just too much here. But yeah, man, I'm so glad you're all here, though, enjoying it with us, listening to the podcast. We thank you so much for being here. Please don't forget to like and subscribe the episode and the podcast as well. Don't forget to miss out on any new episodes coming out very, very soon. We have some great plans for you all. Definitely anxious to show it off to you all. Thank you so much for listening. We hope you have a fantastic day. I am your host, Ethan.
And I'm Rick.
And we'll see you all on the next one.
Adios.